project which is being here hosted by KUTV University?
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at KUTV University Television.
Good evening and welcome to KUTV News at 9 on this 19th day of December 2023, a day when a lot has happened, including Busia Senator Okiya Omtata just coming out and saying that his life is in danger. We tell you why that is later on. Also remember, today we have the final State of the Nation discussion here in 2023. The next one will be in 2024, and tonight we look at the political events this year and predict what is going to come this coming year, or 2024. To speak with me on that will be Isaac Kweyu, who is a political commentator, as well as Fendo Godwin, who is also a political and governance commentator. But first of all, let's look at the day's top stories. Busia Senator Okiya Omtata says his life is in danger over his court case challenging Ruto's housing levy as president slams anti-government litigants. For Ruto, Christmas comes early. State House opens its gates for children to celebrate early Christmas with the president. DP Gachagua implores upon newly appointed diplomats to help expand Kenya's export market to boost local production and the economy. And in sports tonight, tennis star Angela Okutoi secures herself a slot in the round of 16 in the ongoing ITF W25 Championship.
This is KUTV Primetime News with DENIS OMONDI.
Okay, our sign language interpreter tonight is Moses Gitonga. Good evening and welcome to this broadcast. Now, Busia Senator Okiya Omtata now claims that his life is in danger following remarks made by President William Ruto a few days ago regarding those opposing his projects in court. The alleged threats were said at the Cardinal Otunga High School during a Thanksgiving ceremony organized over the weekend, where President William Ruto was the chief guest. Yvonne Kemoma has the detailed report.
Busia Senator Okiya Omtata was today turned away from the Nyanchwa police post, where he had been referred to by the Mosocho police station following his claims that his life is in danger after remarks made by President William Ruto during the weekend.
Hawa watu wote ambao wanataka kutuzuia, mimi nitapambana na wao. Mimi nahitaji tu maombi yenu, kwa sababu si mnajua nilipatiwa panga pale, nilipatiwa sword kubwa hivi. Kwani mnafikiri hiyo sword ni ya kukata mboga?
The Mosocho police had initially recorded the matter in the occurrence book before sending the politician to Nyanchwa to have his statement recorded by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations.
He directly isolated the people who had taken that case to court and said that he was given a sword, the ceremonial sword was given at Kasarani, and that he was going to use that sword not to chop vegetables. He was not given that sword for chopping vegetables, but for dealing with crooks like myself and others who had gone to the High Court and successfully challenged this so-called housing levy fund.
The officer in charge at Nyanchwa, however, declined to engage with the media during the incident, leaving the police station without a word as journalists sought his input on the matter. According to Omtata, he could not understand why the OCPD refused to record his statement.
On Sunday, I went to Langata police station, making an attempt to report this matter, to get an OB. I was kept there for more than 6 hours, being taken around. Eventually, one of the junior officers came and said, "My brother, the discussion I've picked is that they are not going to record your statement. And what I would advise you to do is to go to the crime scene where the crime was committed."
Omtata alluded that the president was describing opponents to his leadership style as crooks, adding that he was not given the ceremonial sword to chop vegetables.
And Article 143 does not stop the president from being investigated and being recorded. It only stops his being prosecuted.
The ODM senator's wars seems to have started from the president's pronouncement during a church function at Mosocho, criticizing people who are bent on frustrating his efforts to implement citizen benefit projects. Yvonne Kimuma, KUTV.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged the newly appointed envoys to expand export markets that will in turn lead to high crop production and exchange maximum economic gain. Gachagua says that the Kenya Kwanza administration is supporting crop production alongside reforms in key sectors to boost the nation's economy. Efforts the DP wants to align with foreign missions agenda. This report has been produced by Vivian Odhiambo.
In Kenya's operating environment and the management.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has emphasized on the need for prioritizing expansion of export markets that will lead to high crop production and enhance maximum economic gain in the country. Gachagua has urged the envoys to ensure the agenda aligns with Ruto's administrative plan of supporting crop production alongside reforms towards boosting the country's economy.
We have the best tourism products in this continent. We are not doing as well as we should be.
The second in command also urged the envoys to study the current volumes of trade, stating that there must be a shift in capturing new markets and retaining the existing ones in a period of 1 year.
You have a lot to do in making sure that our people in those countries are taken care of and they are encouraged to invest back home. And you use them as a resource to help you in your leadership in the country that you are in.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, on his part, said that as a country of interest globally, the ambassadors need to ride on its economic benefit. Cooperatives and Small Medium Enterprises Development Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui added that farmers are looking forward to better prices for their products. Therefore, they need to explore lucrative markets abroad, forming economic partnership agreements signed by the European Union.
So there is something. The geopolitics is generating something around this area. And Kenya becomes a focal point in this Horn of Africa agenda.
People are agile, they are hardworking, and they produce a lot. But the biggest challenge we have in our country is we are not able to look for and source for markets.
Deputy President Rigathi asked the diplomats to market tourism sites as he expects the nation to lead in marketing the national parks and reserves, asking the ambassadors to work with the diaspora community in positioning Kenya as a tourist investment. Dorothy Musyoka, KUTV.
And as Christmas approaches, President William Ruto, together with the First Lady Rachel Ruto, held a Christmas party for staff children at State House, Nairobi. The head of state was also celebrating his 56th birthday as well as their wedding anniversary with First Lady Rachel Ruto. In his Christmas wish for Kenyans, Ruto says that Christmas is a season of celebration generosity and kindness, and uniting families, friendship, and community bonds. And moving on, Kenyans are being asked to desist from indulging in alcohol this festive season to protect their loved ones from road accidents, bodily disfigurement, and even deaths. The spouse of the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, who champions for a sober nation free from alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse, emphasized this sobriety message as Kenyans enter the 2-week period of festivities marking Merry Christmas and New Year. The DP spouse called on Kenyans to embrace the spirit of love and sharing with their families and the less fortunate during the festivities. Pastor Dorcas has been fighting against drugs and substance abuse in the country as part of her agenda for rescuing the boy child. Now, the Competitions Authority of Kenya has fined Carrefour 1.1 billion shillings for separately abusing its superior bargaining power over its suppliers, Pwani Oil Products Limited and Woodlands Company Limited. This story and other updates are in tonight's Business Wrap.
The Carrefour franchise, one of the leading supermarkets and arguably the most affordable in the country, has been ordered by the Competition Authority of Kenya (CAK) to refund Pwani Oil Products Limited and Woodlands Company Limited 16.7 million Kenyan shillings and $500,000 that was billed as a marketing support. A statement from the CAK states that the retailer required its suppliers to provide free products and pay listing fees for every new branch opened, as well as post employees to the supermarket's branches. Woodlands presented its complaint in December 2022, only 4 months after Pwani Oil filed its own separate complaint. In April, Pwani filed a new complaint after Carrefour terminated their commercial relationship. In other news, Mastermind Tobacco Limited has sacked about 1,000 employees after being pushed into administration by the I&M Bank over debt. The company said employees interested in continuing their employment should submit their application in writing, noting that the employment will be subject to joint administration approval and in accordance with the new terms and conditions. Mastermind was the only indigenous tobacco company in Kenya involved in tobacco growing, cigarette manufacturing, and marketing. Elsewhere, some millers and processors have been forced out of business due to delayed payment from the government. This is after the state subsidy last year increased to 3.4 billion Kenyan shillings. The government launched the subsidy to arrest high maize flour prices. By the Auditor General Nancy Gadungu showed that interests on the debts had accumulated by about 400 million Kenyan shillings, even as the government delayed payment. Christine Adhiambo for KUTV.
Okay, that's from the business desk. Now, today is the final episode or the final State of the Nation conversation. Remember, we are talking about the politics in the year 2023 and we are predicting what is to come in 2024. All that after this short break. You want to stick around for that.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
That crowd there was mad for me.
You realize
realize what just happened.
Don't stress. It's just rock and roll.
The police? Is everything okay with Nami?
Joffrey, I'm afraid I have some bad news. The investors decided to pull out of the deal, stating that your family scandal would make a mockery of their image.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. Every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box.
Fashionistas, get ready to level up your style game. Tune in to Fashion Diaries every Monday at 8 p.m. with me, Ashley Assad. From Kia Hills to slit suits, we've got the trends that will make you shine. Don't be left out. Join us for a fashion-filled adventure.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani swahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with DENIS OMONDI.
Welcome back. You are now watching State of the Nation, where we get to discuss key political events that are going on in the country, shaping the lives of Kenyans across the width and the breadth of this nation. Today we take stock of what has happened in 2023, even as we move into 2024. Political actors, including MPs, have taken the festive season break. But when they come back, what will be part of the agenda? We look into that tonight with Isaac Kwe, who is a political commentator, as well as Fendo Godwin, who is also a political and governance commentator. We will just be diving into that shortly. But first of all, I want us to at least greet us. Isaac, good morning. Second time here this month.
It's evening though. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Godwin.
Yes, thank you. My name is Godwin, political commentator and governance expert. It's a pleasure to be in the studios.
Godwin, what do you make of 2023 in politics this year? Takeaways or things that should not have happened, the mistakes?
One of the key issues, a love of the constitution and the legal matters. I do not expect, for demonstrators to have met that force from the police, the death to occur when people are demonstrating for it. We had a president who had given people a lot of promises. So I'd expected to see drastic development process in this country. So that was my expectation. And, that was the big thing that I expected it. But to the contrary, there were a lot of demonstrations. And we thank, the nation and God that we had them to come, and to handle it through the dialogue, though the dialogue is also creating and proving to be more confusing than anything else. Yeah.
And the key takeaway, something good out of 2023 in terms of our governance?
Something good out of this governance is just that, I don't think there is anything good. I don't think there is anything good. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, because the pockets are really crying, so to say. Life has gone high. The shilling is depreciating day and day. So I cannot lie that we are taking anything good for Christmas this year. There is nothing good.
Isaac,
yes.
Godwin doesn't see anything to smile about in 2023. Do you think maybe you have you stand in a different viewpoint? What do you see?
First of all, I want to, the previous day we were watching the president's interview. And President mentioned something very, very important, that Kenyans should stop expecting miracles. So, as a Kenyan, a normal Kenyan, mwananchi, I was expecting the fulfillment of promises in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time. Right now we are at, I think, on the 13th month or 16th month, and no promise has been fulfilled. Everything seemed to be happening against what the expectations of the Kenyans, and therefore, equally, I say there is nothing I can really say that we really harvested this year, apart from maybe the products of the subsidized fertilizer, which again has a bad report. So yeah, no much expectation. We still have a lot of expectation from the government, but so far we are headed in a very bad direction.
Because I'm asking that question because I'm sure if we had the president on this set, or we had any of his cabinet secretaries or the government spokesperson, for instance, or the State House spokesperson, you'd hear things like cheaper fertilizers that you're talking about. You'd hear things like housing levy and the construction of new houses and the way they have created employment. You'd hear things like we have made KRA to get more finances, collect more money from Kenyans. We are now out of debt distress. All that. Honestly, guys, it sounds like me good music to the ears, don't you think?
I think that's a hoax. The only true source to wealth of a nation is through industries. Industries are things that create wealth for a country. A country that is serious about improving its status is focused on industrialization. We need to see industries being revived, the collapsed industries, so that we can leverage and create employment for the people, You cannot tax people who do not have a job. you know, and we cannot have leaders going to graduation ceremonies just to remind the people that, you know, there are no jobs, you know, and somebody of the caliber of a president is saying that there are jobs, and these jobs are mjengo. How many people can carry buckets, you know? There was a certain time I was in second year, and I was somehow broke. So I went to look for, you know, something to eat, something to put on the table. I went to a mjengo, and I can tell you, I did not last there 30 minutes, because carrying that ndoo to the top, unajua foreman ataki mchezo, taka ubebe hiyo kitu, very few will be able to do that. But should you create industries, and you know Kenyans are not beggars, Kenyans are very hardworking people, so you should focus on things that matter. And in fact, things that the president has brought on the table, most have been taken to court, and he has lost most. In fact, even the housing levy, you can see how the court is, you know, citing these things to be unconstitutional, you know. And when the government is losing cases on things, you know, it shows something's amiss, something's big, you know. The affordable housing, the cheapest one goes for about 1.2 million. How many people have ever seen 1 million shillings, let alone 100 million? Because the statistics show that around 150,000 Kenyans, they have, you know, I mean 75,000 Kenyans are the number of Kenyans who have at least 100,000 and above, you know, and you are giving them affordable housing at 1.2 million. You know, these are just stories, and they should be sold to ostriches, you know, not Kenyans.
Because I saw the president, and actually his figure is even standing at 500,000 shillings. He's saying he's managed to bring the cheapest houses in town. And when he talks about some of these programs being contested in court, and the court actually stopping some of them, but what we have seen so far is that the president, whenever he gets an obstacle in court, he goes back to MPs and says, now we need to change this law so that it fits what the courts want us to do. Isaac, this is likely to continue into the next year. Talk of housing levy. The president doesn't seem to let go of this one, and he has not signaled that he's going to let it go. The same to the 4 health bills that were passed to streamline UHC, universal health coverage in the country. We expect this to continue in 2024. What advice do you give to the president on that? Should he let go, or should we continue with it?
I think he told us to call him Mr. William Ruto in his interview, so I'll refer him to that. William Ruto said that he respects the rule of law and the constitution. But when you look at the laws that he has been pushing to the Senate for approval, you wonder whether it is the executive that is supposed to create the laws, then force the Senate and the National Assembly, the legislature, to implement them, or it is the MPs who are supposed to come up with bills, debate them, make sense out of them, then push them to the president, so that if the president sees that there is no sense in any law, in any bill, he refuses to sign it. Now things are happening inversely. The president is forming laws and imposing them on Kenyans and forcing the parliament to approve them. He was actually quoted saying, calling the people who are moving to courts to stop things like housing levy, he was calling them rogue Kenyans, I don't know, corrupt Kenyans, and he said that he will deal with them. Actually, he said that he has the sword. He was given the sword, and the sword is not for cutting grass. He will use the sword to make sure that the laws that he has pushed to the Senate and the Parliament are passed by force.
But Isaac, I just have a question on that one. Can we really fault the president for sending laws to Parliament when the Constitution actually allows bills to be introduced even by cabinet secretaries? Like the 4 health bills were introduced by the health CS Susan Nahumicha the other day. So can we say he pushed them into Parliament when law allows him to actually do that?
No, there is no problem with the CS coming up with a bill, but then it has to be taken to the Parliament, be debated, because it is only the Parliament that has the powers to form, like it is that has the powers to form the law. Then the president does the approval or disapproval, if I may. So what the president is doing contrary is he comes up with a bill, sends it to the parliament, and says that if you try to vote against it, I will deal with you.
Okay, fair enough. Godwin.
Yes.
How do you rate the performance of Parliament in 2023, the Senate and the National Assembly?
The Senate and the National Assembly, I'll rate them out of 10 or out of 100?
Out of 10. Let's go out of 10.
Out of 10, Parliament, I rate it 0.5 out of 10. Key among them, or the main reasons why I'm rating Parliament at 0.5, you know, Parliament is supposed to be a serious house. Parliament is supposed to be a house where debates, you know, to change the country, where debates will bring value to the people, because there is no single way Kenyans will wake up at 3 a.m. to go and vote in the politicians, members of Parliament, to go in the house, and they're making that house to appear like their dormitory, you know. They're going there to sleep. There are no quality debates in today's Parliament, you know. And if there are even debates, these members of Parliament do not attend to those debates, you know. We elected them to go and represent Kenyans, not William Samoei Ruto. I elected my member of Parliament for Lugari to go and represent me and my interest as a person from Lugari, not to go there and to either represent Raila Amolo Odinga's ideologies or, you know, the president, so to say, but to represent us. But these people have been crippled tactically by the government, and therefore I can just say that we don't have a parliament, you know, we don't have parliamentarians. When I was in class 6, I used to follow debates, and you could see James Orengo taking serious arguments with Martha Karua. You could enjoy it even as a small child, you know. But right now, there is nothing in parliament. What we see people going there is just insults here and there, you know, with no substantive results. You know, but now the problem is also who elects these people to this parliament.
What about their performance outside of parliament? Let's say back in the constituency.
Back in the constituencies, I will rate them at from 10. I'll rate them at, you know, something like 7 there. But you know, they're very good. That 7 comes because they're good in, you know, putting their manifestos in funerals, you know, and just present them in funeral. But when they go to parliament, they keep quiet. So I don't know if there are some, you know, sleeping pills. What do they call them? These pills that make people to sleep. When they go there, they are absolutely sleeping, you know. So with the you know, to outside and storytelling and entertaining people, they are good. They are entertainers, you know. They are comedians. And Senate, just a minute. Senate, I can rate it just a slight improvement, but because of just 1 or 2 people, maybe like Sifuna, you know, trying to bring some debate, important debates, but again, he has no supporters behind him to support him. Yeah.
So when we come back, I want us to look at the county side, of course, the relationship between the government and the opposition. That will be later on after this short break. We'll be right back.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani, swahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The Bible says, when he spoke, then he spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart.
Christ says, I stand in the door and I knock. Whoever hears my voice and opens, I will dwell with him.
Like the moon, I will fade, but like the star, I will rise again. And though I fall, be rest assured that I will rise again.
Go to the hospitals, tell them that God will heal them. Go to the prisons, tell them that they'll be free. Go to the crusades and tell people that Christ is coming, and sooner than the word itself, the second advent is imminent.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with DENIS OMONDI.
Okay, welcome back. Now, let's look at the counties and also look at the opposition. First of all, I want us just to look quickly at what the counties have managed to do in 2023. Not so much has happened. We've seen counties really, we were used to them complaining about receiving funds from the national government very late. Right now, they're saying the new president, that is President William Ruto, is really keen on releasing funds on time, and it gets to their accounts when they need it. But many counties, like for example, I was just reading in the newspaper today, in 3 months, some 9 counties have never spent even 1 shilling on development. It goes to recurrent expenditure, salaries, and all that. Isaac, do you think that governors have managed to do something tangible this 2023, or we should give them more time? Maybe they will do things as we approach elections.
I will ask for, on behalf of governors, that you give them time, because at the moment 90% of them have done completely nothing, aside from, of course, swindling money from the IFMIS accounts, which we've seen them being presented in the National Assembly. Some the deputy governors going to the Senate to be grilled over cases of misappropriation of funds. We've had cases in Omo Bay County where the people supplied even these tables where the governor stands to read the speech. I'm forgetting the name. The young boys have not been paid. So we have Trans Nzoia County, which has a very huge pending bill, but the governor is trying to pay up and also building some minor roads and stuff. So there has not been any constructive development. Like in my county, aside from launching, I think he's still launching the projects by the previous governor. Maybe you give him another 1 year.
But that's a bad thing, him launching a project started by the former governor instead of leaving them to lay there as white elephant projects.
He's not completing them, just launching. There is no project that he has completed. Oparanya used to do projects into completion. So at some point, the others which he had not launched. So when somebody comes to joyride on those ones, because the only thing I've seen the governor try to do was a sports tournament which failed completely again. He ended up in battles with this young man called Peter Salasia, and we've seen actually, aside from the failed tournament, he has also been very successful in having battles with the PK Salasia.
Okay, the governor is not here to defend himself whether he has failed or not.
I'm just giving examples though. I've given an example of Homa Bay, Tanzania, now Kakamega. In Nairobi, the governor actually has a case in court of grabbing properties. He has problems with the hawkers every day. Actually, the MCS are already pushing for a motion to impeach Governor Sakaja. Just to mention but a few.
Okay, I cannot independently verify if the governor has grabbed anything. But moving on, Godwin.
Yes.
Looking at the relationship between the opposition and the government side, we started this year on a very bad foot, if you allow me to put it that way. We started with demonstrations, schools were closed, businesses made massive losses. Government was losing billions just in a single day of protest. Later on, we had the announcement, President speaking from State House, Raila speaking from Capitol Hill and saying we have agreed to sit down, some sort of a ceasefire. We had the National Dialogue Committee, and then from that, talks, and in November, finally, the report came out. Right now, the opposition side seems to be in dispute. Uhuru Kenyatta pulling to one side, Raila Odinga pulling to another side. Do you think that we are having a disorganized opposition that is not able to take on the government excesses?
Yeah, personally, I think we are having a very disorganized opposition. When the comrades are on the road fighting for something, unity is key. I happened to be in a high school that the school motto stated, in unity is strength. And the moment they are divided, then it means they are going nowhere. And what is causing division in these aspects, it's all politics, it's all self-interests, We cannot now say that the opposition are angels, They also have their own interests, and what is pulling them aside is the interest. And this one is going to cost them a big time. It's not for the first time that it's going to cost them, but it's going to cost, it has once cost them before, There are certain interests that they feel they should be protected. But these interests, what are they? I know for sure they don't involve the common mwananchi, The mwananchi's interests are not on the table. It's maybe somebody who has been given billions, so maybe somebody wants some position somewhere and they want it to be like that. And the Kenyans are going to, to continue to suffer, more so when the opposition is divided. The opposition want power, but they don't want to fight for things that will make Kenyans see them, that they're serious to need that power. You will take note that, Ruto is in power because he appeared to fight for the hustlers, for the common mwananchi. But right now, no one is fighting for the common mwananchi. I think that opposition should take dearly to their hearts, if they are serious with their business and what they are doing. In fact, if you ask me to rate the opposition and the government, I'll say that the opposition is doing badly than the government. They have forgotten their mandate. Each and everyone is struggling to, to embrace the president so that they can call them on the table to join the government, so that yeye aonekane in layman language, yeye aonekane ni mnoma sana, kuja huku tukae tuongee wampoke taingia on the government side, So I feel opposition is really in a total mess, and it's going to cost Kenyans, And when file wawili wanapigana, ni nyasi ndizo zinaumia, and who is this nyasi? Ni Mkenya. Remember, this is also a fight between two mafia factions, One mafia with this interest, another mafia in this with their own interest, and on that table, the common mwananchi is not there. If the mwananchi is not on the table, then he's on the menu, And whenever political opportunity arises, the mafias will always be there.
So what is the treatment. We have the diagnosis. What is the treatment to this, Isaac?
So first of all, you'll give me a few minutes to... I wanted to explain something that is happening in the country at the moment. We all must agree that we are in a recession. A recession, we'd say, is what is causing most problems in the country at the moment. And that information comes from the lowest echelon of the population. That is the Kenyans who are having the hand-to-mouth kind of livelihood. If somebody had the chance to listen to them, for instance, either a friend of the president, and told them what they are saying, is from what I was saying, recession, the country is in a problem where the companies are shutting down, unemployment is on the high, the dollar is actually on a free fall. Sorry, the Kenyan shillings is on a free fall against the dollar. Unemployment rates very high. The debts, even if we talk about the forex markets, the Nairobi Security Exchange has fallen by actually 44% for the past 1 year. So everything is in a mess. And therefore, the president needs to understand that a solution cannot be going to borrow money to try and maintain our shilling somewhere near the dollar, because that again, it makes us to go deeper into the problem. The president was saying previously on the interview that he did not want to create an artificial balance of the Kenyan shilling to the dollar the way the previous government was doing, in form of subsidies, which to them was a monetary policy, right? The president came up with a new fiscal policy, which he renamed and called it a stabilization fund. That this the money we'll use to stabilize our shilling against the global economy. If you look at the expenditure between June 2021 and June 2022, the government spent around 75 billion in what they called back then subsidies. President Uhuru Kenyatta has spent 66 billion in what he calls stabilization, something closer to the subsidy, but he says this is a different thing. So that is, I think the president should sit down with the person who is in charge of the calculations and tell them, look, we are almost going, it is just 1 year, and we are almost going beyond what we are saying that it is bad. This is not the time to borrow loans and create an artificial support of our shillings. You get it? That is one solution. Let us leverage so much on production. The government talks about production, and he has been talking about the production of food in the country. When fertilizer comes in, it lands in the hands of some few conmen. They add sand in those sacks. They sell this fertilizer, which is half sand, actually 3/4 sand and a quarter fertilizer at a subsidized price. Then when the wakulima are applying it, it does not even work out. The production would last this year. The maize production was, the president says that it was actually, I don't know from how many millions of bags to. There is a lie. Go to Kabani here and ask them if they got anything.
I'd have to confirm with the farmers if that is indeed true. I've not had any complaint from any farmers so far. But what I know is that there was a registration of farmers, and they have received bags depending on how the criteria the government set out to be used to give them the subsidized fertilizers, and we are still waiting to see how that goes. But anyway, I want us to look at now the final arm of the government. We've talked about the executive, we've talked about the legislature. Let's talk about the judiciary. President Ruto gave them more money, I think 3 billion into their coffers, and he added judges immediately. He took over power, and I think he's even added more apart from the ones he cleared to hold office. before they had been stopped by President Uhuru Kenyatta then. We've seen a judiciary that has been ruling against some of the legacy projects of President William Ruto. What do you make of the judiciary in 2023? A dog that cannot bite, or a powerhouse that is taking on the government in the absence of a strong opposition?
I'll say that the judiciary, in fact, I have a lot of issues with the judiciary. The judiciary call it as a dog that does not bite, you know. And even if it bites, it does not bite hard, you know. And I think there is a word in the ground that koti zimebaki ni za maskini, you know. Koti zimebaki ni za maskini. If you go to the prisons, there is no single billionaire who has stolen public fund within the prison. We need to see serious courts that, you know, are not just, you know, giving, you know, even corruption cases are being withdrawn from the courts, you know. We need to see criminals, politicians going to jail. That's the day we'll know that, you know, the judiciary is functioning. But if the courts are just going now to remain for, you know, this person stole my cow, this person stole, I don't know, somebody's, this driver there, huyu mama anauza mayai kwenye soko, you know, such cases are filling up the courts. We need to see serious courts in Kenya dealing with, you know, land grabbers, you know, dealing with the people who are, you know, misusing public fund. Somebody says that Kenya money is lost at, I don't know, 2 billion, you know. Nobody's being taken to court. They're saying to us in, you know, funerals, you know, in graduation ceremonies, and even we have seen even the deputy president saying this narrative, but no one is doing anything, you know. The judiciary should be a place where any Kenyan can run there to help. But as at the moment, I rate the judiciary as a house that, you know, is just dealing with the sufferers, you know, and not the big people who should be dealt with.
Okay,
they should direct their guns to where it's supposed to, corrupt politicians.
Fine, due to time constraints, I'll just take your final comments. Predictions in 2024, what do you expect? Will fight corruption and finally do away with it? Will control our expenditure and debt, hopefully. What do you expect in 2024, Isaac, as you close?
I expect the ruling government to listen to the people and consult people even from the opposition. If you look at, for instance, the Kibaki's government, which was doing very well, there are people who used to work with Kibaki, the likes of Oparanya, the likes of Peter Kenneth, who worked in the Planning and National Development as the Assistant Minister for Planning and National Development, Assistant Minister for Finance under Oparanya, and then he worked as an Assistant Minister for Cooperative Development and Marketing. During that time, when Oparanya and his deputy Peter Kenneth were working, the systems are working properly. Why can't the president call these two gentlemen, sit down with them, and consult from them?
Okay.
As simple as that.
Okay, fine. Your final remark?
My final remark is that, you know, it's not yet lost. The president has made several trips, both internally and outside the country, saying that he's making friends. We hope that these friends that he's making will yield fruits. As I began this interview, I began by saying that the problem with Kenya is that, you know, we don't have industry, and the only true source of wealth is industries. We're hoping that his trips will yield something for Kenyans, because Kenyans had a lot of expectation of him, and we need to see, you know, our country in good shape.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. That has been the state of the nation, just looking at what the year was in terms of politics in 2023 and giving predictions of what it will look like in 2024. Joining me this evening was Isaac, or has been Isaac Kweyu, who is a political commentator, as well as Fendo Godwin, who is also a political and governance commentator. Right now, we move straight into sports news. Okay, now in sports, Wimbledon junior champion Angela Okutoi has qualified for the round of 16 of the ongoing International Tennis Federation W25 Championship, which is being held in Nairobi. Okutoi proceeded to the knockouts after edging out Indian Teja Tirunelveli in all sets. The first set ended with a score of 6-2, while the second set ended with a score of 6-4. The W25 Championship, which is also among the International Tennis Federation's tournaments, is on its second week. And moving on, match week 16 of Football Kenya Federation Premier League is set to kick off tomorrow with 3 matches on the card. AFC Leopards, who have only won 2 of their 15 matches played this season, will travel to Murang'a to battle it out with Murang'a Seals at SportPesa Arena. At the same time, Muhoroni Youth will host Sofapaka at the Muhoroni Stadium as Tusker FC clash with Police FC in Machakos. Gor Mahia, who are still unbeaten in the Premier League, lead the table with 31 points, 4 points above second place KCB. City will tonight battle against Japanese club Urawa Reds in the second semi-final of the Club World Cup. The winner of the match will face Brazilian side Fluminense. The final match which will be played on Friday. Fluminense qualified for the finals of the tournament after defeating Al Ahly 2-0 in the first semi-finals. At the same time, Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola has expressed his disappointment with the football governing body FIFA for not involving the players and the coaches in the decisions which were made for the 2025 Club World Cup, which will be held in the United States. Okay, that does it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The State of the Nation, that was the last this year. It comes back next year, but the news continues. It has been good having you with us this evening on behalf of the whole team that made this broadcast a success, and our guest tonight, as well as the sign language interpreter who has been Gitonga Moses. I am Denis Omondi, and I wish you a good night. See you some other time.